Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com where music comes to life. And my guest today is just truly one of the great songwriters of his generation. We last spoke in late 2021 when he released a record called Tigress, Women Who Rock the World. It was one of my favorite records of that year. He's back now with his band Pride of Lions and just a stunning new record called Dream Higher, which is sure to be one of the best records of this year. Please welcome back Jim Peterik. Welcome, Jim.
Hey Jeff, how you doing, man? Another guitar fanatic just like me. I
You
love
know it, my
that.
friend. So let's start with the band itself. You and Toby Hitchcock, you guys have always shared vocals in the band. How did you first meet Toby, and what led to you guys working together? And then who else joined you in the band?
Well, first the Toby
Mm.
connection. The Ides of March played the Popcorn Fest in what turned out to be his hometown of Valparaiso, Indiana at the time. And I saw this kid, because he was probably about 24, 23, in the front row, just watching every move, And he comes up to me and afterwards and said, my name's Toby Hitchcock. I said, well, great. So he said, well, I sing, and in fact, I just auditioned with your niece, Kelly, for a Dick Clark show, which never aired because Dick Clark died. So I said, well, that's fantastic. I'd love to hear you sing. And I called my niece Kelly, and she said, yeah, Uncle Jimmy, you've got to hear this singer, Toby Hitchcock. I said, if you say so. So I said, I'll tell you what, why don't you two come over to my studio on Monday? Oh, why don't you come over? And I got a song that is just begging for a duet. And she goes, that's great. She called Toby. He drives in from Valpo, and there they are in my studio. Well, Toby's such a joker. He comes in with these false teeth, these buck teeth. And I didn't know, I'm thinking to myself, poor guy. Oh my God. I didn't notice that, in Indiana. And he goes, I'm joking, takes them out. Anyway, that broke the ice, and they go into the vocal booth, which is right over there, by the way, Jeff. And they nailed the song. And I heard the blend of the two vocals. And of course, I knew my niece Kelly was a great singer, but Toby really shone. And I heard those different elements in his voice. I heard a little bit of Dennis DeYoung. By the way, I just talked to with Larry because we're doing a song together for a new album.
Oh, that's great.
Which I'll tell you about, but it's a different album. I heard that blend and I go, oh my God. And Toby was just soaring. So I called up Serafino and Mario at Frontiers. I said, I've got the guy for my next project. We didn't know what we were going to do. I left Survivor in 96. And I was just kind of figuring out what to do, and of course the Ides of March were playing, as we still are, but I called Serafino. I said, I got this great singer, Toby Hitchcock. They flew in from Napoli just to hear Toby, and rented a studio in Nashville because that was kind of a midway point. And they see Toby, and Serafino goes, he's a baby. He's just a baby. And because he was so young and so green, but we sang for him live, and they flipped at our blend and signed me up to do the first Pride of Lions album, which came out in '03.
It's been 20 years now.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah.
live album. So 7th studio album
Mm.
and 8th album.
Yeah. Now, with Dream Higher, I actually think it's probably my favorite Pride of Lions record. And when you sit to write a record for this project, is there something different in your process than if you're writing for another artist, or even if you're doing a world stage record or one of your other projects? What goes into creating a Pride of Lions record?
Well, that's a great question. And really, every project or group that I write for, I'm in a different mindset.
Mm.
You know, if it's 38 Special, you know, I'm tilting it a little more towards Southern rock meets good old-fashioned Midwest rock.
Mm.
You know, when I was writing with Sammy Hagar, I channeled his strengths as a rocker, and we sat down and wrote heavy metal. So I'm kind of like musical tofu. I kind of absorb the flavors around me, you know, and this is no different. You know, when I write for Pride of Lions, I'm thinking of Toby's voice, his range. I'm thinking of my range. Here's me, here's him, you know, and it's a great blend because I can't sing as high as Toby, never will. And he doesn't have the mid-range power that I have. So it's just a wonderful combination. So when I'm writing, like for this album, Dream Higher, all those things are going into my mind. Who's going to sing what? The melodies. Pride of Lions is a very melodic band, you know, maybe even more melodic than Survivor was. Survivor is, you know, especially the Bickler years were more here. Then Jimmy came along and I started soaring with things like The Search Is Over and I Can't Hold Back. Toby gives me that range that Jimmy Jamison gave me, plus other nuances in his voice that inspires me.
Yeah. And I think this record too, it just really exemplifies what's always been the hallmark of your writing, and that's positive, uplifting songs. I mean, you know, tracks like Find Somebody to Love, Another Life, you know, my personal favorite, Driving and Dreaming. I think they take what we all feel on a daily basis, but maybe we don't always see the good in it or see the light when you're going through it. And I think these songs help you do that. What is it about you when you're writing these? It always kind of focuses on that.
Well, that's the way I live each day. You know, I'm a very positive person. In fact, to be honest, Jeff, the only sad song on this, of course, is Everything to Live For, which I almost didn't put on the record because it's so unlike everything else. But I think everybody can relate to losing someone and who, on the surface, had a great life, had everything to live for. And she or he, in this case, it was a woman that I knew who took her own life. And people around her were going, what happened? You know, you had everything to live for, but you don't know what's going on in someone's head. And so that's a really anomaly for my writing. And it's only positive because, you know, in the song, there's always hope at the end of all my songs, you know, but you're right. Most of my songs are, you know, about positivity through it all. Driving and Dreaming, just a fun song, driving home, I think, in the song, and thinking of your loved ones and thinking about everything that's wonderful back home. Being a little lonely on the road and driving and dreaming of you, you know, you're right. That's kind of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, and I think that so many artists just sort of stop evolving at a certain point. But you have always grown with each record and with each band. I mean, after all of your success and just all of the time that you've been doing this, what pushes you to keep evolving and keep coming up with something new and new projects?
I don't know, but I hope it stays going. You know, I really don't know. You know, I wake up in the morning, you know, a lot of times I'll dream a song. And sometimes I'll be able to shake myself out of sleep long enough to grab that iPhone, which is my new recorder. I used to have the cassette in there. Now it's an iPhone. And I'll go, you know, whatever it is. And the next morning I'll get up and what was that? And I'll try to make some sense of it. But a lot of times dreams will produce songs. Mm-hmm. Other times it's a title, you know, Another Life. There's another life in me. This was a co-write with a friend of mine named David Fink, who used to own a club called the Acorn Theater in Three Oaks, Michigan. And we became friends, and he started sending me lyrical ideas. And he had this idea of there's another life in me somewhere beyond the one that I can see somewhere. I said, David, I like that. And I wrote the song. And so he's a co-writer on that, but from a lyrical seed point of view. Yeah. The other song is Driving and Dreaming. I wrote with Steve Salzman. And Steve, I remember he hired the Ides of March. He was head of student council in a small town in Illinois. And we came in and we did his show, his band called John Blonde, Jonblond. Mm-hmm. John Blonde opened up for us, and we became fast friends after that. And Salzman has always been sending me poems and verses and this and that. And Driving and Dreaming start as a verse, really, about driving and dreaming of you. He always comes up with these great hooks. So I have to give Steve, who I'm sure will be watching this podcast, kudos on that one.
Well, it's funny because just, you know, this past weekend, my wife and I took a road trip, you know, about 5 hours going to see her family in Western New York. And I played this record for her. And that song just takes on like a whole new meaning. And, you know, you have that destination, you're going to see, you know, family and people that you haven't seen. So it was very cool.
And it's got a good clip to it. It's very much like the wheels of a car going around at about too fast.
Now, I mean, over the last 50 years, I mean, you've just written countless hits. I mean, songs are literally part of the fabric of American rock. But I don't think there are very many comparisons to your style. I mean, who inspired you when you were starting? And even now, is there anyone out there now that inspires you to keep pushing?
Oh, so many people. You know, the Beatles loomed large in my life. But I love the Beach Boys. And the greatest honor, one of the greatest honors of my life was with Larry Millis, who you met briefly, who's I've known since third grade. He's my producer and one of my best friends. Well, we worked with Brian Wilson and Joe Thomas to write That's Why God Made the Radio. And he started, and Larry initiated a song called Isn't It Time on the same album. And then we went on to write Sail Away for the No Peer Pressure album. It was a dream come true, collaborating with Brian Wilson, a hero from the Beach Boys.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. And I think when I listen to your stuff, I mean, the only two writers that I would kind of put even in a group, I would think with you, and just in terms of the theatricality and the power behind the songs, would be the late Paul O'Neill and the late Jim Steinman.
Who was the first one? I didn't.
Paul O'Neill from Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah.
And it's funny because on your last record, you worked with Chloe Lowry, who was very close. And I actually talked with her about working with you and Paul together. And she saw a lot of the similarities. I mean, did you ever have an opportunity to talk with either of those men about writing? And just,
who was the second one? I'm sorry.
Steinman.
No, but I just heard Dashboard Lights the other day, and I go, this guy wrote a mini opera in one song. I mean, the guy is brilliant, way beyond what I do theatrically, and just definitely a hero of mine. Yeah, I love Steinman. Yeah.
Well, and I think everything you write, I mean, and this record is no exception. It feels, always feels to me like your stuff is meant to be part of something bigger. Have you ever thought of, the Jim Peterik Broadway musical, or, the big production?
Every day. And everybody suggests it.
Yeah.
I just haven't had time to assemble it.
Yeah.
I have to find the right people that could nurture that and believe in a Jim Peterik musical tied around the songs I've written and create a story just like ABBA and Mamma Mia. It's just takes that liaison, the right liaison. So if it's you, that's fine. We'll do it.
You never know.
You never know.
I mean, speaking of playing these songs, is there any chance we'll see Pride of Lions on the road anytime soon?
Well, we've been always talking about it. I'm a little sad because we're supposed to go to Italy in October for what was called Frontiers Fest, but it got let's call it postponed. It will happen, but once we get there next year in 2004, we'll probably build shows around that show, around Italy, England, Greece. I just came back from Greece. We have a big fan base there as well.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see in the States sometime soon too, and just
that's another story. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll try.
Yeah.
Actually, we are doing a world stage show that'll be like in maybe February of next year, and they'll be part of world stage, of course. I mean, will be. Yeah.
And I saw that a few weeks ago at the end of May was actually the 41st anniversary of Eye of the Tiger. It's the 45th anniversary of the band of Survivor. With all of these big anniversaries hitting and coming, do you ever see a time where you, Frankie, and Dave, even if it's for one night, would celebrate the legacy of that band?
Well, I've learned to say never say never. You never know how fate may take us. I'm not sure. But if it makes sense, you never know. Unfortunately, we can't bring Jimmy back. I wish we could. He was a dear friend and an amazing singer, as is Dave. So that's my answer.
Yeah. And Dream Higher, it's out everywhere now, the new Pride of Lions record. What do you have next in the queue? What's your next project? You mentioned one with Dennis DeYoung.
Right. Now, I can. This is a world premiere exclusive for you, Jeff. But there's going to be a new album that I have to turn in by September 15th to Frontiers. And it's going to be called Roots and Shoots. And it's going to be half classic rockers like Dennis DeYoung, who I'm working on a song right now, Kevin Cronin, Don Barnes, Kelly Kagi, all the old guard, Jim Peterik, and more. And then the shoots are going to be all my new discoveries, young artists or undiscovered artists that I'm writing songs with and for. Roots and Shoots. I don't know when it's coming out exactly, but I know it's due September 15th, and then I have to talk to Serafino and Mario to find out what they want to do.
And I just give you so much credit for all of the, as you say, undiscovered singers that you give a platform to. I think it's just an amazing thing, and I will always congratulate you for doing something like that. I just think it's amazing.
Well, it's a pleasure to work with a new artist that is still kind of a blank sheet of paper in a way. I mean, they have the talent, but you need to build from there.
Yeah.
He or she may have this amazing voice, but it's not really a songwriter, and it's still doing cover material. And that's where I come in and try to tailor a song that's just right for him or her.
Well, we've been spending some time here with the amazing Jim Peterik. The band is Pride of Lions. The record is Dream Higher. It's out everywhere now. It is a great record. It's sure to be one of the best records of the year. I've been listening to it constantly. And Jim, can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this today.
Well, it's my pleasure, Jeff, and it helps to have an array of beautiful guitars in back of you to inspire me, to re-inspire me. And I love that you love this new album, and it means a lot to me. So we keep trying to raise the bar, and that kind of validates that.
Definitely. It's a wonderful record.
All right, man.
Yeah.
The eye of the tiger.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. We will do this again sometime soon.
Please, and thank you for the interview. It was great. Good talking to you.
Thank you.
All right.